Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 73 of the MR Runningpains podcast. My name is Aaron Saft, and today I am going to get into what's going on and what I'm planning for Hardrock. I guess it's best to start with how this all started for me. I never planned on doing a 100-mile race. That was not in the cards. I didn't think I would get to that distance. I started doing ultras in 2008. I did my first 50K, and I really didn't do anything longer until 2014 when I did my first 50-miler. I knew there were obviously longer races out there. I'd helped out with them. I'd paced at them, been a part of it, but I never really thought I would go much longer, to be honest, until I saw the B Series in Virginia and knew that I wanted to try to finish that series, which of course meant running 100-mile race. And for those that are not familiar with the Beast Series, Clark Zeeland and Dr. David Horton, have 6 races throughout the year between their respective event management companies. The 6 races being Promised Land 50K, Holiday Lake 50K, and Terrapin Mountain 50K. And then in the fall, you run the Mountain Masochist 50-miler, Grindstone 100-miler, and Hellgate 100K plus. That's the series itself. So the trophy was something that lured me. I was pretty excited about it. I was just getting into knowing what these longer distances entailed. Honestly, finishing the series was the goal. Getting a qualifier for Western States and Hardrock was secondary. And not even actually, I couldn't even say secondary. It wasn't even actually a thought in my head of running another 100-miler. But as I learned more about Hardrock and the history behind Hardrock in Western States, it began to form a new idea in my head, and I started to want to be able to continue to put in for the lottery and have a chance at running those 2 events. So 2016, I finished the Grindstone 100-miler, finished second place, and ended up winning the Beast Series, which was awesome, and got my trophy, which I was very excited about. And from there, I continued to try to qualify for both Western and Hardrock. So I stayed in the lottery starting in 2016 to current. And in 2018, I ran the Bighorn 100 out in Wyoming. That was my qualifier. 2019, I ran UTMB, and I actually got selected on the wait list before UTMB. I was selected after I had run the Chattanooga 100 the year before, which would have been 2018. So anyhow, I would say that, I didn't even know that I got selected for the wait list. Somebody else had mentioned it after I ran Chattanooga. Martin Sneecloth had actually messaged me and said, "Hey, you got, selected for the wait list." And I was 41st at the time. So I, based on that, I didn't think I really had much of a chance to get in. We fast forward to 2019 when Hardrock was canceled due to the avalanches. And then, of course, last year, 2020, the pandemic year, it didn't happen. So I continued to move up the wait list. And we went into this year with Hardrock pulling a few more of the never run entry, the lottery entry people, off of that wait list and moved me up to, I think, I don't remember, 21st or somewhere thereabouts. And, somebody asked, what's the chances of people coming off the never run wait list at this point? And, we were told it's probably slim to none that many would be pulled, if any. And so, I guess with travel conditions and things the way they were, actually the wait list started to move, obviously, pretty quickly. And I didn't realize that. I got a message from Lee Connor saying, Aaron, you better be expecting a message. And so, I had moved up to like 7th or 8th on the wait list, and I was like, oh my gosh, I might actually get into this. And, it was, I'll talk about, the year in training and things I had done here in a minute. But when I heard the news, I had just came off of 80 miles of Old Dominion with DNF, which I talked about in a previous podcast. But the message came across during a run. I got a Facebook instant message, and it flashed up on my phone out on a run, and I looked and it said Dale Garland, and at first it didn't ring a bell, and then it clicked who it was, and I looked and saw that I needed to give Dale a call because I had been brought off the wait list and was selected to run. I can't tell you the excitement that I felt. This since 2016 has grown into something that I've wanted to tackle, a challenge that I wanted to accept and be a part of. Fully acknowledging that people have been trying to get into this race for much longer than myself, so I can consider myself very blessed and fortunate to be able to do this. And I am taking it quite seriously, as I will talk about in training and such. So I know for those that haven't got in, I know how fortunate I am and how grateful I am to be able to be out there and running this. I hope that when I get there, and we'll get into all that stuff here in a minute, but I just hope that I can move through this course, and no matter what challenges I face, I can keep moving and move towards the finish line. But we'll talk about the game plan in a bit. I got in. I had about a little bit more than 4 weeks of a heads up to kind of get my training in for Hardrock. Which obviously is not ideal, but just coming off an 80-mile effort with some good fitness, I reached out to my friend and coach Pat Regan and was like, hey, I got in. It's like, could use some guidance, some accountability. It's fine for folks to coach themselves, but it's also great to have somebody else looking over your shoulder and kind of making suggestions and kind of guiding, so that you have one less thing on your plate sometimes, and you can communicate with others, and if you're not feeling good, at least they may tell you to back off a little bit, whereas I may just push through on my own. So I started working with Patrick Regan again. We began to work on, getting some vertical gain in, both on the trail as well as on the treadmill. Patrick likes to use the treadmill at incline. So we would do 2 miles of 15% grade at about 4 miles per hour, just kind of practicing power hiking. I headed over and did a massive run with Alex Brown on the Quest for the Crest course. Those that know the Quest for the Crest course, the beginning goes up Woody's Ridge, which is about a 3,000-foot climb in about 2.5 miles, and then it goes down Bolins, which is a little bit longer, but still 3,000 feet of descent. But we started going up Bolins, so up 3,000, and then down Woody's, and then back up Woody's, back down Bolins. We did that twice. So we got 12,000 feet of gain in about 28 miles. 12,000 feet of gain in 28 miles. So it was a great day out on my feet. Took us about somewhere between 8 and 9 hours. You can look on Strava and see all that stuff. But then I came back the next day and went for a run with Sam Reed, who's going to be one of my pacers, and my friend Sheridan. We did about 13 miles, and honestly, I didn't feel like I did anything the day before. I actually felt really good. My quads were a little bit sore and a little bit tight, but I was honestly surprised by how good I felt. And then the following weekend, which was just this past weekend, I did another back-to-back effort. I went 19 miles with my friend Joe Quinlan. We hiked up the Shut-In Trail, which I've talked about before, but we also added on the Grassy Knob and Cold Knob, and then we summited Pisgah. So we basically hiked all the climbs. It took us about 4 hours and 45 minutes to cover 19 miles and about just shy of 7,000 feet of gain. And then I followed it up the next day with a solo run, kind of on the trails near my house. I did a 15-mile run with 5,000 feet of vert. Again, just kind of practicing hiking up the climbs. And, I've been still doing the treadmill hiking about 2 to 3 times a week, do 1.5 miles to 2 miles. Sometimes we add it up to 20% grade just to mix it up a little bit. We've also really been diligent about doing core and strength work. Patrick has 2 different workouts. One is specifically core and some hip strength and mobility, and the other one is a weighted vest routine in which you kind of focus on the whole body, and then an ankle weight routine. So 2 different workouts. We do about 4 workouts a week. I've really noticed a difference. I think it really shows in recovery, how fast I'm recovering. I'm working a running camp this week, and I was kind of showing the campers some of the drills, and got a little knot in my calf. That's the first time I've had anything like a really little niggle. It popped up one other time. I shouldn't say that. One other time it popped up in training, but both times I've gone to my friend Miriam Saloom of the Runner's Mechanic, my physical therapist that's been on this podcast a number of times, and she dry needled it, and it seems to just relax and loosen and go away. So, but I just have to be diligent about, making sure that it's stretched. I do a lot of calf raises just to kind of keep the calf strong, but I land very laterally on the outside of my foot, and I think that puts a lot of strain on the outside of my calf, and that's why that keeps surfacing. But we've done a few kind of lactate thresholds, so if you will, tempo pace workouts. And those have gone extremely well. I felt really comfortable. Usually takes me about a day to recover from it. The next day I'm kind of slow and lethargic, but usually I come around pretty quick and feel good during the workouts, and I felt great during the long runs. So that's a great sign. We've been doing strides pretty religiously, anywhere between 25 to up to 1 minute, actually, of just kind of striding, a little faster pace, a little turnover, keep the legs going, and kind of work the system a little bit more, which has been great. I think the combination has kind of kept me fluid and feeling good. I had an off day yesterday. I just did not feel great, so I just cut it short. We were supposed to do strides, and I just didn't have it in me. My calf was kind of bugging me a little bit, so I cut the run short. I think that's something that we don't do often enough. I think we try to slug through it and just kind of make ourselves a little bit more fatigued. So I cut it short and just said I'm going to save it for another day. I still did a power hike yesterday at incline. I was fine for that and did my core work, but the run itself, I cut short and took it easy on myself because like I said, just wasn't having the day. I still got about a little over 1,200 feet in 6 miles, but it wasn't the day to push, so I took it easy. So training's been going pretty well. I'm very pleased. I've gotten right around just under 100 miles 2 weeks ago. with between running and power hiking. Last week I was just short of 90 miles. I think I was like 89.66 last week between running and power hiking. So getting in good miles, and I'm recovering well. I feel good. We started tapering this week. Mileage and time on my feet has definitely come down. And I'm feeling good. Feeling strong. I guess, if I were to say my biggest concerns, one would be the altitude. We do go over Handies, which is a 14,000 foot peak. The altitude, is always a concern for those of us that aren't living at altitude. I've been up to 14,000 feet, but I didn't run up there, or, we took a cog train up Pikes Peak. So, I've only had one experience at that high of an altitude. So I don't know how my body will react. So that will be one of my biggest concerns. But the game plan really is just to hike, a majority of it. I read, Nick Curry, his race report, and he says he starts out walking. He walks the flats, and he walks the uphills. So I am going to do something very similar. I'm going to try to run the flats, and definitely hike the climbs, and then run the downhills best I can without destroying myself. The run that Alex and I did on the Crest Trail, Bolins, and Woodies. Actually, my legs felt really good on the descending. I was a little bit worried coming down the last time. Bolins, it's just a long descent. I was really worried about how my quads react, but they actually felt really good. And as I said, the next day, they were a little sore, a little tight, but it was a very positive sign, to say the least, that I was able to get through that workout and feel as good as I did. So that was definitely encouraging. But downhills are always just as UTMB was when I did UTMB. The descent down from Italy down into Switzerland, long 13.1 mile descent that wreaked havoc on my body. My quads just kind of imploded. And I really didn't have running legs after that. So I do want to be a little bit more conservative. I think other things that have been playing on my mind are fluids and food, since I will be going much slower. I want to make sure that I am carrying enough capacity, both of fluids and calories, to sustain myself in between aid stations. So, I'll talk about my gear more so here after I talk about my concerns. But I'm going to carry a 1.5 liter bladder, as well as a soft flask in between aid stations, just make sure I have enough fluids to last me in between. I'm also going to bring a 2 liter bladder just in case I feel that 1.5 liters just isn't cutting it. So I definitely be relying on a lot more fluids, and calories. I've been practicing, my intake. My wife and I, since Old Dominion, if you haven't listened to the Old Dominion report, you can go back and listen. I just didn't get enough in me, both fluids or calories. So this go around, we already started talking about real food that we're gonna make and I'll take with me, so that I have a lot more calories and such, and plenty of options. I am suspecting this race is going to take me a good long bit, kind of like UTMB, just because of how slow it's going to take me to do a lot of this. So I want to be sure that I'm prepared on that front as well. So, altitude and just having enough fluid and calories to sustain me. Those are the two things. Obviously, altitude. I can't fly out there just due to commitments and family and such. I can't fly out there too early, so I will only arrive on Tuesday, with race being on Friday. So I have a few days in Colorado. I've done this before where, I fly into Colorado, and usually by the weekend I'm doing okay. I mean, it's not fully acclimated, obviously, but, it's just hard to know what the body's going to do at altitude. So that's my biggest concern. Whereas, the fluids and food, those are a little bit more within my control. And so obviously we are making preparations for it. She bought a jet boil, almost like a broiler, for cooking, for Father's Day. It was such an awesome Father's Day gift. She never listens to these episodes, but thank you, hun. That was such an awesome idea. So she's really thinking on it. I know, she's concerned. She's coming. So crew is going to be my wife, Sam Reed, who I mentioned earlier, really good friend, training partner. He won the Hellbender in 2019, and Sam has done numerous 100-milers all over the place, so has a lot of experience. Really looking forward to having him out as pacer and crew member, as well as my good friend Morgan Elliott, who is out in Colorado, and his girlfriend Mercedes. They will both be coming out. Morgan will be pacing, and Mercedes will be crewing, so really looking forward to having all of them out there. So I've got a great support network. And just got to start getting everybody on the same page so they understand what the game plan is, and we can have pacers from 42 to the finish. Handy's Peak, the 14,000 footer, is early in the race, so I have to get through that without the pacer. But I get through that. I've gone through the highest point in the course. I just have to keep moving forward. So we just need to do whatever it takes to keep me moving forward. So really excited for those folks to join me out there. It's coming together. It's amazing. We're just about a week out as this launches. So, final preparations and everything, it's, total effect right now. So far as gear goes, I've been running on the new Ultra Lone Peak 5. Really been enjoying that shoe. Also been using the new Topo Mountain Racer 2. Also, again, really enjoying that. My only concern with the Mountain Racer is that it might be a little too luggy for the course. I've been using the Black Diamond Gators, running gaiters, which I've really enjoyed. I'm going to use those out there. Exoskin socks, I'm using the Exo Toes. The crew, really almost up to the lower calf, so that the gaiters don't rub at any strange point. But the Exo Toes have been serving me really well, so going with the Exoskin socks. Shorts, Exoskin, I didn't know how great their I guess they call it their 3/4 tight. It's just above the knee, not below the knee. It's a long short tight, I guess you could say. I did not realize how comfortable and breathable those were. It really surprised me. So I am going to use that as my base layer. And then I've got a pair of linerless rabbit shorts that I'm going to use. They're also a 7-inch, and they have zip pockets and such, so plenty of storage. Shirts, I'm still going with the Columbia shirt that I've been wearing. It's got their OmniFreeze technology, so it's a cooling. They also have one that is UV protectant, which, if it's super sunny, I may wear that as well. I've got buff UV arm sleeves, kind of protect me from the sun, as well as my Solomon kind of desert racer cap. It's got the cape that covers the ears and the back of the neck. I'm going to go with some Gooder sunglasses if it's super sunny. And I've got my wife, for our anniversary, got me a new Solomon Advanced Skin 12 pack. It's they're sulfur yellow, so it's bright, so she can see me out there. Really, Love that pack. I use the 12 in UTMB, so I have 2 packs that I can switch out between. But that's the pack I'm going with. And my Black Diamond Distance Z carbon poles, foldable, collapsible. I'll be using those. I've been practicing with them. Really enjoyed them. Used them at UTMB. And Black Diamond also has a trail running kind of cut off fingered glove. So I'll be using those with the poles. Solomon also has a quiver that you can attach to their packs and throw your poles in. So I'll be throwing that on my pack so that if I'm not using my poles, I can store them. That I've practiced with that. It's really handy. Really like that little device. So that's been great. So far as lighting goes, I will be using the Ultra Aspire. I think it's the Lumen. I can't remember if it's a Lumen 600 or 800, but I'll be using that belt and my Petzl Actic Core headlamp. I've got multiple batteries for that. I tried using the new Swift, but I can't seem to get any kind of consistency out of it so far as the duration of the on. It seems to shut off randomly at its own. So I don't know what's going on with that, but I have not had much success with that headlamp. So I am going to stick with my Actic Core, which has been my tried and true. Other than that, I've got tons of food that we're planning for. In kind of my recap, I'll go over what I ate and what worked. I've been practicing. I tried the new goo liquid gels, and they seem to be working pretty good. The lemonade flavor goes down pretty easily. It's very viscous, so it just you can just drink it. So I've been using those. Still use the goo Roctane gels. I like the vanilla orange and the lemonade flavors. So they have their BCAAs and amino acid chain in there. So I like those for glucose. Still use spring. I love the Awesome Sauce and Canterbury. So I've been using those. Also mixed in some Huma. The apple and the strawberry flavors have been doing me right. So using those as well. And then I've got some heavier calorie springs as well. The Wolf Pack has 300 calories if I feel like I really need some big calories and such. And then we've got a slew of ideas for real food, kind of some wraps and stuff that we're gonna do. So we'll see how it all goes, and I can't wait to share that. I'm just really gonna try everything I can to get to that rock. And kiss that rock. So excited for that journey. I'm doing everything I can to make it happen. So if you guys have any ideas or have read any good race reports that might provide some more insight, I'm definitely open to hear those and read those. And I appreciate whatever information and data I can get. So if you have any of those, send them on my way. I'm, just eager to get to the starting line. So anyway, other than that, things are going great. The coaching world, I've kind of been in flux here. I've got a few runners that have ended their goal race and have signed off for now. So I've taken on a few new runners. So if you're interested in coaching, please let me know. I am going forward solo as sole coach in the MR Runningpains. Thad and I agreed that it's best if he goes and does his own independently. So it's just me under the fold now. Coaching, but if I don't feel like I'm the right fit, I will always say, there's these potential fits as well. So, please reach out if you have questions or want to talk about that. Newsletter, I hope to be able to work on that and get that out perhaps next week when I'm in Colorado. I'll have some free time that I can work on that. So newsletter will be coming out. It is forthcoming. So if you haven't subscribed, you can go over to my website, mrrunningpains.com, and sign up. As always, I want to thank Patreon supporters for helping me. It's great that I can continue to do this podcast, to release the newsletter, to do YouTube videos, and also I should thank Western States for tweeting my YouTube video on how to make ice bandana with your buff. It was pretty cool to see my video in the Twitter feed for Western States. So thank you. So yeah, follow me on the social media channels, Strava. As always, if you have questions about anything I'm doing, or questions about what you're doing, I want to talk about training, coaching, etc. Don't hesitate to reach out. Love those conversations. And I sincerely appreciate you guys for listening, for supporting, for sharing, liking, reviewing. All that stuff really helps this podcast get out there. I do continuing to line up guests here. So, going forward, I hope to have some more fun conversations that hopefully we all can learn from and continue to grow. So for now, I'm going to sign off and say thank you for listening. I'll probably do one more check-in from Colorado in the next week's episode. But until then, keep running, my friends, and thanks for listening.
Miles by foot, 100, 100 miles by foot. Don't ask me what I do it, I can't stay put. 100 miles to go. 100 miles to go. Don't ask me why I do it, I really don't know. Rain is coming, rain is coming. Can't give a shit, rain is coming, rain is coming. Can't give a shit.